All right, we'll give everyone a few more minutes. I know we had a smaller group this time, but I think we had more than one. So we'll give it a few more minutes for everyone to join us. Okay, 2:05, we will go ahead and begin. 2 more minutes. Okay, I guess we will go ahead and get started. If anyone else comes in, they can join us when they join us. So good afternoon and welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending the 2023 Freight Priorities Program training session. My name is Tom Brandenstein, and I am an associate with White House Group. And today, I, along with my colleague Aaron LaSala from Cambridge Systematics, will be covering the basics of the MPOAC's Freight Priorities Program and the practical knowledge needed to submit your agency's projects. The program is entering its 6th year, but we know that some are new, and we will be covering the basics that the veterans may already know. So throughout the presentation, we want to encourage participation. There are 2 ways to alert for questions. You can either raise your hand, use that feature, or you can type your remark into the chat feature, and we'll read that aloud for everyone. But if I do miss any of those methods, go ahead and just unmute yourself and interrupt my presentation. We can go ahead and take care of questions right on the spot for you. Just a note too, the presentation is being recorded, and we will be posting this later to the FPP's portal website, so you can go back and review any of the content that we covered here today while you're submitting applications. We have a rather lengthy agenda today, but definitely don't see us taking up the full 2 hours here. The first half of the training will cover more of the general information on the program, the resulting list and product that we create, and some statistics on the program's performance. The second half of the training will cover the practical aspects of submitting a project application, including the online application portal and the support materials that we provide to you during that process. Aaron will then take us through a live demonstration of the application portal, and we will finish off with the schedule moving forward and any remaining questions that you do have for us. So first, we want to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. I will start us off. As I said earlier, I'm Tom Brandenstein, associate at White House Group, located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Aaron, why don't you go ahead and go next?
I'm Aaron LaSala with Cambridge Systematics. I'm based in Sarasota, Florida.
Gotcha, thank you. And Rodney?
Yes, this is Rodney Bunner with Service Ed Solutions in Tampa, Florida.
Thank you, Rodney. And then we will go on to Jason.
Jason Sartorio, Transportation Planner with MetroPlan Orlando.
Well, welcome, Jason. You are our only participant today, so you get a VIP treatment, I guess.
All right, sounds good.
Just to kind of start us off, did you participate in last year's program or any program in the past with the FPP?
No, I've only been with MetroPlan for the past 6 months.
Okay, perfect. So we got all the basic information we'll be covering today, so give you a baseline knowledge.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. All right, thank you, everyone. And so there are 5 main goals that we are trying to accomplish today with the training session. We want to make sure that you understand the purpose and the process of the FPP. We want to cover project eligibility, learn how to submit online project applications, understand what assistance is available to the agencies, and we also want to note the important dates as the program moves forward. Okay, so there are 3 basic outcomes that we hope to accomplish with the Freight Priorities Program. Those are to provide the MPOs with an opportunity to identify high priority freight projects on an annual basis, use the MPOAC as a united voice to promote these MPO priorities, and to position projects for future funding opportunities. And now we will look at each one a little bit closer and see the benefits that result from each of these outcomes for the MPOs. So for the first one, before the projects are submitted to the FPP, agencies will need to identify their most pressing freight needs. This will have agencies then prioritize the projects that address those needs for submittal to the FPP program. And the annual cycle of the program allows for recent changes in your area to be taken into account and adjust project submittals on a yearly basis. The program uses a strength in numbers approach and gives all MPOs in the state a chance to participate and submit the projects to the list. The list is then endorsed by 3 separate committees within the statewide body of the MPOAC. And finally, the list is transmitted to FDOT. And here we have the cover letter we sent with last year's list to Secretary Perdue. And once the list is sent to FDOT, the ultimate goal is then to see projects that have been included on the list receive funding. The program does not directly fund any projects, but it does position them for an increased chance at receiving those funds. FDOT considers the list during its internal prioritization process. And one of the ways we try to target specific programs is to include network designations of the projects that are submitted to the list. Specifically, we highlight projects that are on the state highway system, the strategic intermodal system, and the national highway freight priority. So FDOT can easily see which projects fall under eligibility for each of their respective programs. The project list can then also be used by individual agencies and district offices to bolster their project applications as they compete for discretionary grant funding, such as through infra or RAISE grants. All right, so there are no major adjustments to the FPP this year from last year, but there are 5 main components within the FPP process. The first is MPOs will choose the projects they would like to submit. 6 total submissions are allowed per MPO. And then this is further broken down into 3 submissions for state highway system roadway projects and 3 submissions for non-state highway system roadway projects. And we will cover these 2 categories a little more in depth on the upcoming slides. Once the projects have been chosen by the MPOs, they then need to create a project application for each of their projects. And these are created on the online portal website, which we will also cover later. This was a custom website developed by Rodney Bunner at Service Edge Solutions last year for FPP applications, and it is replacing a manual process that we used to use where agencies would fill out individual Word document applications. And then this makes it a lot easier and a lot less manual than that old process. And submissions this year will be open between March 2nd, so tomorrow is the opening day, and they will remain open till the 31st. After submissions come in, the consultant team will review the submissions. Follow-up questions may be needed and more information may be requested. So be aware of that and make sure you're available after those initial submissions and until you get that final confirmation that the project has been accepted to the program. After the review process and the submission window has closed, the consultant team offloads all the data collected from all the project applications and create a final project list deliverable that is the product that is actually transmitted to FDOT for their use. And finally, before that actually goes to FDOT, it is endorsed by 3 separate committees within the MPOAC, and that includes the Freight and Rail Committee, the Staff Directors Advisory Committee, and the Governing Board. So we need those 3 thumbs up before we actually send it off to make sure everyone is in agreement with the list and the projects included. And that timeline of the 5 components we have lining up with FDOT's annual work program update to make sure it is received before they make those actual funding decisions on projects. So any questions first on the process? Nope. All right. And now we will dig into some of those the 2 project categories that we mentioned before, the state highway system roadway project category and the non-state highway system roadway project category. So state highway system roadway projects have been included in all 6 years of the Freight Priorities Program. And in 2022, the Freight and Rail Committee voted to expand the program after feedback was communicated from some agencies that their highest freight priorities did not fall on that state highway system. So then a new project types were identified and included within this non-state highway system project category, expanding the program to give agencies more options to submit different types of projects. The specifics for the state highway system roadway category include first, whether the project is located on the state highway system. And then the Freight and Rail Committee has also set requirements that require the PD&E of the project to at least be funded at a minimum to make sure that these projects are construction ready and able to accept funding. And then each MPO, as mentioned before, is allowed to submit up to 3 of these types of projects. The new category that includes all the new project types is the non-state highway system roadway category. And the specific types of project that this category includes is non-state highway system roadways, intermodal logistics center access projects, truck parking projects, and rail freight projects. As with the state highway system roadway category, if the project requires a PD&E, we require it that at least be funded. And also the project should be able to accept construction funding. And also, as with the state highway system roadway project category, each agency is allowed to submit up to 3 of these types of projects. Concerning the actual applications, they are fairly similar between the state highway system roadway and non-state highway system roadway project categories. The state highway system roadway projects, though, do require a bit more of the funding information. That is just because we know that is available within FDOT's program, since they are on the state highway system and have more stringent requirements for that type of information to be known and kept. So any questions on project eligibility? Nope. Okay. So, all right, there are 4 different parties that come together to make the Freight Priorities Program a success. Each group has its own role in the process. And we'll start with the MPOs. They are mainly responsible for submitting project applications, using the list once it's finished to advocate for their projects, and provide program feedback. Feedback is an essential component so that we can make sure the program is as easy as possible and useful for MPOs. And we want to do this to make sure that we increase participation throughout the state and all the different agencies. The more participation we get within this program, the more that FDOT will see its value and increase its influence with funding decisions. So the other groups include the consultant team, which we administer the program. We create the project list and we implement any changes that the Freight and Rail Committee decides on. The MPOAC serves as the uniting body and single voice of the program. They are the main advocate for the program, sending that to FDOT, and then FDOT considers the list when making their funding decisions. Okay, so now we will take a look at the actual deliverable list that we submit. We're going to use last year's list as our example. Here you can kind of see the statewide map of all the projects that were submitted last year. We had 35 projects that were submitted last year. Then the actual list portion of the project list is broken down by FDOT districts. This makes it easier for the district freight coordinators to be able to locate projects that apply to their area. In this example, we are using District 4, but if you would like to see the complete list with your district, you can view the complete 2022 list on the MPOAC website within the Freight and Rail Committee's webpage. That is where we store it, and it is publicly available to anyone to download and use as they wish. The list highlights some of those components that we talked about earlier, including the network designations. You can see at the end on the right side, we have the National Highway Freight Network, the CIS, and Regional Freight Networks identified there. We also list the PD&E status and the fact if the project is a district freight coordinator priority as well as a FPP priority. Accompanying each list is a district level map. The map reemphasizes some of those network designations with the National Highway Freight Network seen there in yellow, and then also the CIS network there in gray. Yep. And to view your district, please visit the MPOAC's website where that is located. So now I'll cover some historical performance and trends of the program over the past few years. First, we'll look at 2022 with the addition of those new project types that we expanded to last year. We received a somewhat low amount of new project types with 2 truck parking projects and 1 non-SIS road, or I'm sorry, 1 non-state highway system roadway project. One of those truck projects was actually in your agency, Jason. It was the I-4 truck parking, I believe. And we will kind of be monitoring this going into this year. We want to see if this increases since agencies were saying that these project types were important for them to be included in the program. We'll see this second year causes some increases for those project types to increase for submissions. Submittal of projects eligible to the National Highway Freight Program has slightly increased over the course of the program, and the majority of SIS projects remain somewhat constant throughout the years of the program, maybe slightly dropping a bit. And finally, project submissions have remained relatively consistent in the mid-30s for the past 5 years. For the past 2 years, we have been able to get some reporting from FDOT on projects on the project list that got programmed specifically with National Highway Freight Program funding dollars. In 2022, we saw this increase from 6 to 7 projects from the list, with an overall funding amount similar to the amount that was reported for 2021. Based on Florida's overall National Highway Freight Program apportionment, a large percentage of those funds from the program are going to FPP projects. And the National Highway Freight Program is not the only funding source that we try to influence, but has been the one that we've gotten the most consistent feedback from FDOT on. So they've been pretty good at updating us for the past 2 years, at least, with the amount of money going towards our projects on the list. And before we move on to the practical aspects of the project submission, are there any other questions on the process, project eligibility, or just program in general? Nope. All right.
Nope.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, so next we will be covering the support documentation that we provide to assist you and to provide feedback during the submission process this year. All of these documents you see here will be available on the Freight Priorities Program portal website, which we will also cover a little later. The first document is the instructions, and this is going to be your first source of help. The instructions begin with a brief overview of the program and tell you all your important dates and kind of overview process questions that the program covers. Then as you move through the instructions, it gets into a question-by-question list of the application. So you can see the actual questions that we ask on the online application and kind of get a little more clarification on what we're looking for each question. And that listing of questions is color-coded. The light gray you see in the picture there, that means all projects have that question asked. And then there are some questions that are highlighted in that light green color you're seeing. And those are specifically for the state highway system roadway projects. So the next document we provide is the District Freight Coordinator Checklist. This checklist will help facilitate your conversations with your DFC as you begin to choose projects and submit them to the FPP. The DFCs have a strong knowledge of FDOT's work program scoring criteria, which projects are good contenders for discretionary grants, and the projects that they are going to submit for their district priority lists. That's all good information to have as you make your decisions on which projects you submit for your agency. We encourage the collaboration with the DFCs to inform your decision making, but we also don't want DFCs selecting your MPO priorities. Those are yours to choose. They don't have to align with the district priority list. They could be any project that you choose, but making sure you consult your DFC will help you pick projects that will score high within FDOT's internal processes for their prioritization. The final document we have is the feedback form. This allows anyone to provide feedback on the overall program, online portal, and individual questions from the project application. So say you thought a question was worded oddly, or you didn't expect that type of answer from the way the question was worded, please let us know and we can adjust the questions to make sure they are clear and everyone gets the correct answers input. Feedback is what has shaped the program into what it is today. So hearing any pain points from you as the participants can help us make a better and more influential program. Once you have that form completed, you can send that to myself or Aaron. We will take it and take in all the information gathered and present that to the committee so they can make decisions off of the feedback we get. And I just want to reiterate, all of these documents are going to be available to you on the FPP portal website. Okay, and the FPP portal website, I've been mentioning it a lot, and here is the landing page for it. This is a new website that we brought in last year. It worked great. We've had a lot of positive feedback on it, so we're hoping for another strong performance from it again this year. I'm going to go through kind of the main pages of the portal briefly, and then Aaron will kind of take us through a more in-depth look at during a practical demonstration of the portal. So the welcome page is publicly accessible. Anyone can go here and look at the content. All the FPP support documents, as I said, are going to be here, as well as the recording of this training and also the slide deck that you see here today. So those will all be available to you on this page. Then there are two main sources of help listed on this page. The first is going to be more geared towards program and project application questions. That's going to be that technical assistance section you see on the right-hand side. Clicking either my name or Aaron's name will give you a direct email access to us, and you can send us any questions that you have on anything to do with the program. We'd be happy to help you. And then at the bottom, the second type of help is available there. That's going to be more of your technical website issues. So these can be directly forwarded to Rodney, and he can help you out with any issues that you may run into as you go through your submittals. To move on from this page, you are going to want to click that MPO sign-in button, and you can do that either with the green button in the center there or up top in the right-hand corner. This will then move you on to your unique agency page here, where you will sign in. You will choose your agency from the drop-down box. Once you've chosen your agency, you will then enter your agency's unique password into the text box below. These unique passwords will be sent out to your agency's designated contacts, and this includes your executive director and any other designated contacts that have been identified, which we will cover in a few slides. But these will be sent out on March 2nd, which is tomorrow. So be expecting those as the portal opens and you can begin your submissions. And then once you've logged in, you will be brought to your agency specific application page. This is where you're going to do the bulk of your work here. And from this page, you can create, edit, and delete applications. The applications from previous years will already be pre-populated with the majority of the information from last year still intact within the application. To create a new FPP application, there is a button on the right-hand side you see at the top of the project list that you can use to create all your new ones. And applications are broken down into a 3-step process, which Aaron will go into more in depth during the practical demonstration. But from this page, you can see the where each application is in that 3-step process by the color coding of the 1, 2, 3 under the steps column in the project list. Once a project has made it through those 3 steps, you can hit submit as highlighted in the yellow button on the below the create FPP application column. Once you hit submit, the button will then change to complete to notify you that that application is been sent to the consultant team for review. Make sure you hit that submit button. Once you finish those 3 steps, it's not automatically submitted. You have to physically go in and hit the submit for it to be sent to us. All right. So then there are a couple new points on this page for this year that we will cover. The first is the project filter seen on the right-hand side above the FPP application button. The filter is a drop-down box, which you can see further right on your screen that I have posted a picture of it open there. This filter will allow you to filter between specific project categories, including the state highway system roadway projects and the non-state highway system roadway projects. And it will also allow you to be able to filter for project status types. So if you have some that have already been approved, you can look at just those. Or if you have some still in the process of being created, you can filter to just those specific applications. Then the second new feature for this year is the tabs included at the top of the application page. You have 4 different tabs up there. The first is the instructions tab. This is kind of just general FPP information, including some important dates. The training materials tab is going to be all of those materials that you saw on the landing page. They are now conveniently stored here. So you don't have to go back to that landing page to open them. You can open them right here on your agency specific page. And the next you see actually open on the screenshot is the review key. This key tells you what each color means. So the important colors here are that green, meaning the review has been completed. These are the projects that have gone through all the steps, have been submitted and gotten the thumbs up from us. A red is a rejected project. We haven't rejected any projects before, so we don't anticipate rejecting any this year, and we'll kind of cover more of what we're looking for in that process in the review slide. But then also there's the yellow color that indicates an application that is still in progress and needs some action to be completed before it is moved forward. Oh, and finally, the last tab on the tabs at the top is the designated contacts. These designated contacts are going to be the people who get the automated emails that the portal generates on its own. So these will let you view those designated contacts, and if you want to make any changes, we'll cover out how to do that in the next slides. But previously you were unable to see who your designated contacts were. This created a few issues with people not knowing who was actually included. So now we have that capability to view those right here on your agency page. So going into more specifically on the designated contacts. Designated contacts will receive all portal generated communications, including submission confirmations and application eligibility issues. So we want to make sure these emails are correct and the right people are noted as the designated contacts. Also to note, the unique agency login passwords that will be sent out tomorrow will be going to these designated contacts. So it's very important to make sure these designated contacts are correct because they will give you your actual access to the FPP portal. You can change the contacts at any time by emailing me directly, and we allow up to a total of 5 people to be included within that list receiving those portal communications. And then just to note, based on agency feedback from last year, some of the automated communications were getting directly filtered to people's spam folders. So just to note, if you were expecting a communication to come through and you didn't receive it, check your spam folder first. Some of the agency firewalls are stronger than others, and automatically filter those to there. So when you see an automated portal communication generated, it's going to be coming from a Wade White name with a W White at whitehousegroup.com address. So be on the lookout for those if you don't receive one and you're expecting one. And here is the actual list of our up-to-date designated contacts. So for Freight and Rail Committee member agencies, these are set to your voting members and your alternates. So MetroPlan, you're set to Alex and Gary for year 2. Jason, if you want to be added, go ahead and email me later. I can add you in to receive those communications. I don't know who from your agency is going to be actually doing the submissions. But then non-agency, non-member agencies to the Freight and Rail Committee are the executive director and if they've identified a friend of committee position. So like I said, I can make changes to these anytime. Just email me directly and I can get those, get you included in those communications. Okay, and now we will touch briefly on the review process. So all the project applications will go through a review by the consultant team. And this process is mainly just verifying that the answers satisfy the question. We aren't trying to deny any project's entry. We just want to make sure that all applications comply with the stipulations voted on by the committee. Verifications are in place within the portal to ensure completeness. So it will automatically stop you from submitting an incomplete application. So you shouldn't have to worry about those. If more information is required and we do send that back, comments will be sent back referencing the question IDs that need to be addressed. You can see in the screenshot here, the review comment has that question identified 9S. So you can easily go back into the application and go directly to the question that we were referencing. And typically before we send any emails back to anyone, we will also do a personalized email just letting you know that you should be expecting a review comment from the portal to be coming back. It's just a nice way with the whole firewall issue we went in last year to kind of let you know there is something coming back and we can directly open a line of communication and talk through any issues that are going on with any applications. And then below the first screenshot is the MPOAC feedback button. This button is located on project applications once they have gone through the review process. And clicking this button will allow you to view the feedback directly within the portal. So instead of looking at those automatically generated emails from the portal, you can directly go into an application and open up that feedback right there. So we're not going to go through all the questions on the portal, but we are going to look at 3 specific questions that had a few minor changes from last year. The first one is question 12S9N. Last year, we required a GIS shapefile to be submitted for the map of the project, but this year we are expanding that to any map image that clearly shows the extents of the project. That will be fine. We don't need an actual shapefile. I'll be creating the mapping data myself. So don't worry about GIS file. Just get us any map that shows the lengths of the projects. And second is the question seeking PD&E information. This has been changed to require the user to select the PD&E status from the drop-down box. In the state highway system roadway applications, this question has also been moved before the funding table and will automatically populate the status selected into the funding table for you. And Jason, since you are new, you don't know what the funding table is. Here is a screenshot of that funding table. And just to note on this, there weren't any specific changes besides the monetary values that you submit. Last year, we were telling applicants to submit in the millions. This year, we're requiring that you submit in the full dollar amounts. But one thing to note with the funding tables from applications from last year, we have cleared all the funding information from the tables. We did that to make sure that each application has the most up-to-date funding information, so we can keep that on record in a year-by-year basis, and possibly look for changes and successes in the program by having this information available. So before I hand off the presentation to Aaron for our practical demonstration, any questions?
Yeah, quick question. For the
Sure.
document portal,
Yes.
you said that they'll send out a password tomorrow. How about a what's the login? Is that just a
Oh.
generic login?
That can actually be, that can
I
be
guess.
selected from the drop-down box right here. So you'll
Okay.
have MetroPan already available to you right there. So you just select that and then go ahead and type that password in.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool. Yep. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Cool. Okay. So I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right, Aaron, you should have control now.
All right, let's see if this works.
Right.
Can you see the website?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. So I'm just going to walk you through the website, and Jason, since you're the only one here, please feel free to interrupt me at any time to ask any clarifying questions or just, why we ask for any information or anything like that. So this is the website as you saw in the presentation. This main page is open right now. So if you want to go look at it, you can. We will officially open it tomorrow for submissions and entering the data once we send you guys the password. We have uploaded these guidance documents and training materials. And so if you just click on each of these, it'll just open up a new page and you can see what the instructions are, any feedback, which you would probably wait to do until after you've actually used the portal, and a checklist for project submittal. As a reminder, our contact information is right here if you run into any issues. And then how you would sign in is you either click this sign in button up here or the sign in button here. It'll take you to the exact same place. So as Tom mentioned, you would pick your agency from the drop-down menu and then put in your password that we will send out to you tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to log into our training account so that I don't mess up any of your projects, but I will show them to you later. So you can see what's been submitted, and we can point out some places where you'll want to spend a little more time updating it from last year. So once you log in, this is the screen that you will find. As Tom mentioned, there are these tabs across the top. So we have instructions. Again, we have the link to that training materials that was on that first main page, the review key explaining what each of these colors mean, and then the designated contacts, which since this is training, this is just us and not, an actual agency. So you'll see we've been playing around with some things here. So when you want to actually create a new project, and I will go over how you update a project after this, but to do a new project, you will click this Create FPP application. And so here is where you'll fill in this information, and I am just going to copy in data from an existing project. So in this case, we are pretending that we are the Palm Beach TPO working on an Oslo Road interchange. So several of these are drop downs, and this one in particular will drive some of the questions that you'll be asked, especially those funding ones. The state highway system roadway projects have a few more funding questions than truck parking or rail, et cetera. So this one is a state highway system project. We'll fill in some of this information. And then you'll also have your district rate coordinator and district pre-filled here. So are there any questions kind of on this page? What's expected? Anything like that?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Excellent. All right, so then our second page, it's a little harder. So it's going to pre-fill that project name in for you, so you don't have to click it again, type it in again. And here you can select all that apply. You're going to do a brief description of the project, so it's an interchange. Then you will type out a project rationale. Why do you want the project? The FM number, copying the card. DOT roadway IDs. The project is north and south. You will do extents with the mileposts. Let's say I-95 and Oslo Road. This one, we're looking for things like truck AADT or the T factors, and why you are submitting this project. So in this case, they wanted to advance construction funding. So basically, if your project were to receive funding, what would it be used for? What funding programs is the project eligible for? So we might just say federal grant programs here, or, you know, CIS highway funds or the National Highway Freight Network. Here we are asking for that map to be uploaded. It does not need to be a GIS shapefile, but it does need to be a map that shows the location of the project. If you don't answer this question, which I'll just go ahead and try and hit continue, it will yell at you and tell you that you need to fill in all these things. So I will just find a random picture that I have on my desktop. Here's one of a snake for you guys later. So PD&E status, you'll say what it is, you put in a URL to where it is, page number, project number, you know, work program, and the year, along with the amount. And so then this is the funding status. And so each of these will have its own box to open. So in this case, if you say, okay, we have a PD&E here, you'll hit the edit button off to the side. And then you will put in the amount for each year, as well as a total of the second 5-year cost and an unfunded amount. And then it'll populate those cells for you. So as many as you know, you fill in. Obviously, you know, you may not have right-of-way support or land numbers available yet. So if you know, you don't have to fill in all this other information. We then also ask for, oh no, didn't mean to click that. A link to the work program. Again, a page number and a reference number so that we can check this information, or if anyone else is trying to verify the information later, they can find out about the project.
So, quick question, is the link that you are putting in 14S, is that the same link that you're putting up top above the table?
It may not
Cool.
necessarily be the same.
Okay.
You know, some of them may be funded by FDOT, some of them may not be. It just kind of varies by project. If it's on the state highway system, then most likely it would be the same.
Okay.
But again, it's just where that information is stored. Any other questions on this page? Just
The only other thing, if you scroll up a little bit more,
Mhm.
next to the project where it auto-populates what you had put in for the previous page, yeah, right where your mouse is that just auto-generated on your end?
Yeah,
TTT.
that's generated by the program, just that we have a project ID for each project.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about that one.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, one thing to note on that, Jason, is that center number, that's the year that the project was created within the portal system. So you'll see some from like a year or 2 years ago when they were first uploaded into the portal. And then any new ones that you create for this year will show that 2023.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. So then our last page. Again, you're going to see the project name pre-populated. Question, is it identified as a freight priority? And if you say yes, it will ask you, how is this priority determined and by which entity? So we'll just copy in the response that was here. We asked to identify any plans that it's been included in. So freight plans, LRTPs, all that fun stuff. So what you would do here is you'll hit add plan document. A new box will pop up and you'll say it's in a tip. No, I don't want to open it. Here is the URL that's available. The project is referenced on page 2 and the project number is 37. You would then hit submit and you'll see that it's populated here. And you can add as many documents as are referenced that you have. The next one is talking about identifying matching funds. Oh no, why is that happening? So same thing, you can hit add a matching fund source. You would put in the source and the funding amount. So we'll just say FDOT is giving us that much money and you'll see it filled in here. The next question is if it's on a priority freight network. If you say yes, you have to answer more questions. So the National Highway Freight Network, the critical urban freight corridors, the critical rural freight corridors, CIS, regional freight networks, and then any other networks that we have not identified here. And you can also put in the URL, the name, and the page number for that one. So for this one, we're going to say no, so I don't have to fill it out. You then identify which of the goals support the project. And again, you can click as many as you want. And then a brief statement of how the project supports those goals. And that is it for the last page. Are there any questions on this one?
No questions.
Okay. So then you'll say finish. And you'll come back to the main page and you will see our project that we did here. So you would then hit the submit button and you will need to check this box and say basically everything you've provided is correct to your knowledge. Obviously things can change over time, but as far as you know, it's correct. And then you'll hit agree and submit. And I think I'm going to get an error because I have too many projects. Yes. So you can only submit a total of 3 state highway system projects per year, and then an additional 3 projects that are non-state highway system projects. So if you get this error, you've apparently tried to submit too many. So what you can do if you say, oh, well, shoot, I had this one from last year. I don't need that one anymore. You can delete old projects. So you'd hit delete. And it's not a do or die situation. You have a chance to not delete it if you click the button by accident. So again, you would have to hit agree and remove and then hit agree and remove. And while you would no longer see it, we do kind of keep it in a behind the scenes data file. So worst case, if you need to get that information back, we could do that. So what'll happen once you've submitted everything, we will review it and see if we have any questions, any follow-up, maybe something didn't come through correctly. And so you'll find that up here where this button is saying MPOAC feedback. And so for this one, we said that the URL was not valid. You provided us a link and we clicked it and it didn't work. So you would go back to, I think this one got submitted, so I can't edit it at the moment, but you would go back to where your URL is and you would replace that and then resubmit the project. So that's the basic process of submitting it, deleting it, creating one. Now I'm going to switch accounts and I'm going to show you your projects for last year. If my computer, no, I'm not saving anything, wants to cooperate. So we'll go to the drop down, we will select you, we will put in your password and we will sign it. And so here again, you see this information where your designated contacts are with their email addresses. As Tom mentioned, we can update these if you want it to be you or someone else. So you had 2 projects submitted previously, a widening project on Jongyang Parkway, and then also an I-4 truck parking capacity project. And so these will remain yellow until you have reviewed the information. Once those are all green, then you can hit that submit button. So if we're looking at the flyover, you'll see your information is already entered here. But maybe you're like, oh, we've actually changed the name to something else. And so you would just edit everything here. It probably wouldn't change from a state highway system roadway project. You probably wouldn't add any MPOs. The county probably wouldn't change. So, basically here, you might not see a lot of changes. On the next page, again, some of the project description, you're probably going to see some of the similar information, but maybe you want to provide new truck data, new documents with a map, because I think all of those got cleared out from last year, so we would be looking for that. And then this is the table that Tom was talking about that we cleared out. So because we've shifted funding years, we thought it was easier to clear it out for you guys to re-enter the information for the new work program. So that's basically how you would go through it. I don't think it'll let me continue, and I don't want to mess up your document by adding things. Do you have any questions about the basic process, submitting information, what information we're looking for, how to use the website, anything like that?
No, not really. You said we can have up to 4 designated contacts. Did I hear that right?
I think we can have up to 5 total.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, then if you don't have any questions, I will stop sharing my screen and let Tom finish up with the last few slides of his presentation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Aaron. Okay, and can we see the slide deck again?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. All right, so only 2 more slides to go, so don't worry, almost done. And we're going to end with our schedule moving forward. So today, March 2nd, is our second training session. Tomorrow will be the big day that the portal opens. So be on the lookout for those emails in tomorrow morning with your login passwords. That'll let you get into the portal and start your actual application submittals. And then that open application period will run till March 1st. So you have about a full month to get those projects in. During that time, any questions come up, me and Aaron are available. You can call us, you can email us. We could set up a video conference, whatever you need to get those projects in. So we'll be here to help. And then we have a little bit of time once that window closes for us to gather up all the data and get that into that project list and created. We're hoping that process will be done a few weeks early so we can send out a draft form to all the agencies, make sure they are in agreement with all the information that is on the list and will be transmitted to FDOT. And then on April 27th at the MPOAC second meeting of the year, we will present the final list project to the Freight and Rail Committee, Staff Directors Advisory Committee, and the Governing Board for their approval. And once we get that approval, the list will be sent off to FDOT, and hopefully we will get all our projects funded. All right. And Jason, thank you today for participating with us and being our kind of VIP guest for our training today. We were expecting a larger group, but it's all right. Do you have any final questions for us?
I think I'm pretty set. I wrote down both your email. So if I have any questions, I'll give you guys shoot you an email.
Gotcha. Yep. And all our stuff's available right on the FPP portal site, so you can go there and easily find us.
All right, cool. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thank you, everyone, and have a good rest of the day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.